These are 5 cars, including the Chevrolet Malibu and Nissan Versa, that are quietly disappearing from American roads forever, taking with them decades of automotive history and marking the end of an era when you could actually buy a decent new car without breaking the bank. The automotive world is changing beneath our feet in ways most people don't even realize. While everyone's talking about electric vehicles and self-driving cars, something else is happening, something quieter but maybe more important. We're watching the systematic elimination of affordable, practical vehicles that regular families can actually buy. In 2024 and 2025 alone, more than 60 vehicle models got the axe, victims of changing tastes, economic pressures, and an industry that cares more about profit margins than making cars people can afford. What makes these cancellations particularly heartbreaking is how they're happening. No fanfare. No special goodbye editions. No last hurrahs. Just quiet announcements buried in press releases, marking the end of cars that helped define American driving for generations. Let's start with perhaps the most symbolic loss of all, the Chevrolet Malibu. In November 2024, General Motors officially ended production of its last gasoline-powered sedan, closing a chapter that started way back in 1964. The Malibu wasn't just another car, it was Chevrolet's final connection to an era when sedans ruled American roads. Think about this for a moment. Chevrolet, the brand that built its reputation on family cars everyone could afford, now sells exactly one traditional car, the Corvette. Everything else is a truck or SUV. The rest of their passenger car legacy, the Impala, the Cruze, the Camaro, and now the Malibu, has been systematically wiped out. It's like watching a library burn down one book at a time. Meanwhile, survivors like the Toyota Camry and Honda Accord continue to thrive, proving that sedan demand still exists, just not for American brands. The numbers tell a brutal story. Back in 2007, sedans made up about 22% of new car sales according to Cox Automotive. By 2023, that number had crashed to just 8%. The Malibu, despite selling a respectable 130,000 units in 2023, couldn't justify its existence in a world where the Chevy Tahoe sells nearly twice as many units at double the profit margin. Over its 6-decade run, Chevrolet sold well over 10 million Malibus. 9 generations of American families trusted this nameplate. The 2008 model was so good that the New York Times called it like a super Accord, but from GM, and Car and Driver declared, Camry, beware. It won Automotive Fleet's Fleet Car of the Year multiple times, becoming the backbone of pharmaceutical sales fleets, rental companies, and small businesses across America. But here's what's really telling, that Kansas City factory where they built the Malibu? GM is investing $390 million to retool it for the next generation Chevrolet Bolt EV. The transition from the Malibu to the Bolt represents more than just swapping gas engines for batteries. It's a fundamental shift in who can afford to buy new cars in America, especially as EPA fuel economy standards and CAFE regulations push automakers toward electric powertrains. The second loss cuts even deeper into car enthusiast culture. In October 2025, Porsche ended production of the internal combustion 718 Boxster and Cayman, arguably 2 of the finest sports cars ever built. This wasn't supposed to happen. These cars were selling better than ever, with 2025 marking the best year of 718 sales in North America history at 6,399 units. Here's what makes this cancellation particularly cruel: these cars were perfect. In certain Porsche circles, enthusiasts whispered that the 718 might actually be better than the legendary 911. Mid-engine balance, incredible handling, accessible performance, everything you could want in a sports car at a price that, while expensive, was at least achievable for dedicated enthusiasts. The plan was always to replace them with electric versions. Porsche had been developing all-electric Boxster and Cayman models, initially promised for 2026, then delayed to 2027. But according to recent reports, Porsche CEO Oliver Blume might cancel the entire EV program due to budget constraints. This means for the first time in over 25 years, there might be no Boxster or Cayman of any kind available for purchase. Production manager Albrecht Reimold, in his final interviews about the 718, promised that Porsche fans wouldn't be left without a properly fun car. But actions speak louder than words, and the action here is the elimination of 2 of the most dynamically excellent vehicles ever created. The Cayman and Boxster weren't strangers to change, they survived the controversial switch from naturally aspirated flat-six engines to turbocharged four-cylinders in 2016. Enthusiasts complained, but the cars remained fundamentally excellent. This time, there's no evolution, just extinction. The third cancellation represents the end of an entire philosophy about what cars should be. After 35 years, the Subaru Legacy ended production in spring 2025, taking with it the most successful mainstream all-wheel drive sedan in automotive history. The Legacy story is uniquely American. When it debuted in 1989, it was the first Subaru specifically designed for the American market and the first Subaru built in the United States at the company's Lafayette, Indiana facility. This wasn't just another car, it was Subaru's declaration that they understood American driving conditions better than anyone else. Over 1.3 million Americans trusted their families to the Legacy's legendary all-wheel drive system. In 1993, rally legend Colin McRae won Rally New Zealand in a Legacy. A third-generation Legacy set a world record for mass-produced turbocharged station wagons in 1998, clocking 168.101 miles per hour. According to Subaru, over 94% of Legacy cars sold in the last decade are still on the road today, testament to the model's legendary reliability and IIHS Top Safety Pick Awards. But perhaps the Legacy's greatest legacy was spawning the Subaru Outback. The Legacy wagon became the foundation for what would become one of the most successful crossover vehicles ever created. The irony is thick, the Legacy died because customers preferred SUVs and crossovers, including the Outback that it literally created. The sales numbers reveal the harsh mathematics of modern automotive retail. In 2023, Subaru sold 25,510 Legacy sedans compared to 161,814 Outbacks and 159,193 Crosstreks. When your own spiritual successor outsells you by more than 6-1, the writing's on the wall. At $26,016, the Legacy was the cheapest all-wheel drive sedan available in America, a bargain that apparently nobody wanted. The fourth cancellation marks a milestone that should alarm anyone who believes transportation should be a right, not a privilege. When Nissan ended Versa production in December 2025, America officially lost its last sub-$20,000 new car. The Mitsubishi Mirage had already disappeared in 2024, making the Versa the final survivor of the subcompact segment. The age of affordable transportation has officially ended. Before the Versa's death, its $18,585 base price made it Nissan's most affordable offering. More importantly, it represented something increasingly rare in modern America, a decent new car that working-class families could actually afford. The manual transmission version cost just $17,390 before it was quietly eliminated mid-year, making it the last 5-speed manual car available in America under $20,000. This wasn't supposed to happen. The Versa was actually selling well, with 30,619 units moved in the first half of 2025, up 71.9% over 2024. These 6 months outpaced complete year totals from 2022 and 2023. A Nissan spokesperson told Road and Track, "In this time right now, people are looking for more affordable vehicles that still offer them the tech and safety they want." The Versa delivered exactly that, earning NHTSA 5-star safety ratings while customers responded. So why kill a successful, growing product? The answer reveals the ugly truth about modern automotive economics. Built in Mexico and sold primarily to budget-conscious American buyers, the Versa simply didn't generate enough profit per unit. In today's tariff-laden landscape, with automakers focused on maximizing margins rather than serving customers, the Versa became expendable despite its success. With the Versa gone, the title of America's cheapest new car likely goes to the Kia K4 at $23,385, nearly $5,000 more expensive. That's not just inflation, that's the systematic elimination of economic accessibility from new car ownership. The Versa continues to sell successfully in Mexico and dozens of other countries, proving that affordable cars are still viable. American buyers simply don't matter enough to maintain local availability. The fifth and final cancellation represents perhaps the most spectacular failure of expectations in recent automotive history. The Volkswagen ID.Buzz, the long-awaited electric tribute to the iconic VW microbus Type 2, has been paused for the 2026 model year after spectacularly failing to meet sales expectations. This was supposed to be different. Volkswagen had been teasing updated bus concepts for decades, with an entire Wikipedia page dedicated to various iterations of the dream. The original VW microbus became a symbol of 1960s counterculture precisely because it was affordable and accessible. When the retro-styled electric minivan finally arrived in Europe in 2022, it generated massive enthusiasm. American customers waited until the 2025 model year to finally get their hands on this tribute to the legendary Type 2. The reality was brutal. Through 3 quarters of 2025, Volkswagen sold just 4,934 units. In the second quarter, sales plunged to a pathetic 564 vehicles. By comparison, there are roughly 2,600 unsold ID.Buzz vans sitting on dealer lots, representing more than 6 months of inventory at current sales rates. What went wrong? The answer is simple: price. The original VW bus became a cultural icon not just because of its design and versatility, but because it was cheap, simple, and accessible. The modern ID.Buzz arrived with a $61,545 starting price for just 234 miles of range. That's not nostalgia, that's financial fantasy. Volkswagen Group of America CEO Kjell Gruner insists that the ID.Buzz remains an important part of the Volkswagen portfolio and that they're not canceling this product in the US market. The company promises a return for the 2027 model year. But the damage is done. A combination of high prices, tariffs, and waning electric vehicle demand has proven that sometimes you can't recreate magic with modern economics. What makes these cancellations particularly significant is their timing and their implications. We're not just losing 5 random vehicles, we're losing the last representatives of entire automotive philosophies. The Malibu was the final affordable American sedan. The 718 was the last attainable mid-engine sports car. The Legacy was the final mainstream all-wheel drive sedan. The Versa was America's last budget car. The ID.Buzz was the final attempt at accessible electric nostalgia. Each represents a different kind of giving up. Giving up on sedans. Giving up on affordability. Giving up on simplicity. Giving up on accessibility. What's left is an automotive landscape increasingly divided between luxury and utility, with less and less space for the practical, affordable, interesting vehicles that once defined American driving. The broader trend is unmistakable. Ford has eliminated the F-150 Lightning after poor sales. Acura is ending the TLX after the 2025 model year, marking the first time since the luxury brand's inception that they won't offer a traditional sedan. Stellantis continues cutting models across Chrysler and Dodge lineups. Nissan paused production of the Ariya EV, another casualty of tariffs and changing market conditions. These aren't just business decisions, they're cultural choices about what kind of transportation future we want to build. When the cheapest new car costs nearly $25,000 and the most interesting sports cars are priced out of reach for enthusiasts, we're creating a world where car ownership becomes increasingly exclusive. The saddest part isn't just what we're losing, it's how quietly it's all disappearing. No ceremonies. No commemorative editions. No acknowledgement of what these vehicles meant to the millions of Americans who trusted them with their families, their adventures, and their daily lives. These 5 cars represent the end of an automotive era defined by choice, affordability, and accessibility. What comes next remains to be seen, but it's becoming increasingly clear that the future of American transportation will look very different from its past. Whether that's progress or regression depends entirely on who you ask, and whether you can afford the answer.